Let me ask you something personal. When you were in school, did you ever struggle to memorize a date, a formula, or a historical fact? Did you ever sit there for hours trying to force information into your brain? Now imagine a 16-year-old today. He opens his laptop, asks an AI, and gets a perfectly structured answer in 4 seconds. So here is the question everyone is afraid to ask out loud. Is Gen Z actually smarter than Gen X? Or are they just outsourcing their thinking? Because the data is starting to tell a very uncomfortable story. And today we are going to break it down. Let's start with what we actually know about Gen X. Gen X grew up without the internet. No Google, no Wikipedia, no AI. If you needed to know something, you went to the library. You asked a teacher. You figured it out yourself. And that process, as slow and frustrating as it was doing something incredible to the brain. Every time you struggled to remember something, every time you had to work through a problem without help, your brain was building what scientists call cognitive resilience, the ability to think independently, solve problems under pressure, and hold complex information in your head. Research from Stanford University found that the act of struggling through difficult material, what they call desirable difficulty, actually strengthens long-term memory and critical thinking. In other words, the frustration was the point. Gen X did not just learn facts, they learned how to learn. Now let's talk about Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation to grow up entirely surrounded by smartphones, social media, and now artificial intelligence. They have access to more information than any generation in human history. Literally everything ever known by humanity is sitting in their pocket. And on the surface, that sounds incredible. But here's what the research is showing. A 2023 study published in the journal Nature Human Behavior found that heavy reliance on external tools for memory and problem solving is causing a measurable decline in independent cognitive function among young people. Translation: when you always let the tool think for you, your own thinking gets weaker. Think about it this way. If you always use GPS, you stop being able to read a map. If you always use a calculator, mental math becomes impossible. And if you always use AI to write, summarize, and analyze, what happens to your own ability to write, summarize, and analyze? This is what researchers are calling cognitive offloading, and it is happening at a scale we have never seen before. Now, before Gen Z gets defensive, and before Gen X starts feeling too good about themselves, here's where it gets really interesting, because Gen Z has something Gen X never had: adaptability. A 2022 report from the World Economic Forum identified adaptability, digital literacy, and collaborative intelligence as the 3 most valuable skills for the future workforce. And Gen Z scores higher on all 3 than any previous generation. Gen Z does not just use AI. They understand it. They know how to prompt it, how to verify it, how to build with it. They are not just consuming technology. They are fluent in it. And here is the deeper truth that most people miss. IQ, as we have traditionally measured it, was designed for a world that no longer exists. The original IQ tests were designed in the early 20th century to measure a very specific kind of intelligence: the ability to memorize, pattern match, and solve problems in isolation without any tools or assistance. That was a valuable skill when you were working in a factory or managing physical records. But in 2024, that is not what the world demands anymore. The world now rewards people who can ask the right questions, who can synthesize information from multiple sources, who can work with AI as a partner, not just a search engine, who can think critically about the answers they receive, not just accept them. And that is a fundamentally different kind of intelligence. So who actually has the higher IQ? Here's my honest answer. Gen X built the foundation. They developed independent thinking, resilience, and the ability to work through problems without a safety net. Those skills are not obsolete, they are actually becoming more valuable, not less, precisely because fewer people have them. But Gen Z has the map to the future. They are native speakers, of a technological language that Gen X is still learning. And the ones who combine digital fluency with genuine critical thinking, they are going to be unstoppable. The real danger is not Gen X versus Gen Z. The real danger is a generation that uses AI as a crutch instead of a tool. That lets the algorithm think for them, that mistakes access to information for actual understanding. Because here is the thing about intelligence, that no IQ test has ever been able to measure. It is not about what you know. It is about what you do when you do not know. And that is something no AI can give you. So here's my question for you. Drop it in the comments right now. Are you Gen X, Gen Z, or somewhere in between? And do you think AI is making us smarter or making us lazy? I read every single comment, every one. If this video made you think differently about intelligence, technology, and what it really means to be smart in today's world, subscribe to System Broken, because every single week he challenged the ideas you were told to believe about school, about success, about what it actually takes to win in the real world. I will see you in the next one.